how to debate with the other side. That's like the philosophy break of today. So, hi, how's you been? Hope you're good. Grab a coffee or something. Sit down and let us discuss the philosophy of today. This week I'll discuss John Stuart Mill and Daniel Dennett on the art of disagreeing. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts and what is your take. What do you think about this discourse, this philosophical concept on how to debate with the other side? Now, before we dive in, a quick word from this week's sponsor. Sponsorship are personally vetted by me and are crucial to keeping this philosophy free for everyone. So please do check out the rest of the volume. Feel free to share, and if it interests you, follow for more. Now, on this week philosophy break, rules of engagement from John Stuart Mill and Daniel Dennett. If you don't try to understand opposing position, you don't understand your own. Now, in the 1990s, the American lawyer Mike Godwin observed how common it was for those locked in online argument to eventually, inevitably, regardless of topic, accuse each other of being Nazis. This observation, now referred to as Godwin law, has become a cult rule of the internet. Its official formulation, according to the Wikipedia, is as follows: as a discussion on the internet grows longer, the likelihood of a person being compared to Hitler or another Nazi increases. And this is very common actually in Twitter. The more you get permeated, the more your presence is permeated, the more you become conspicuous, the more you get the hate. Spend 10 minutes pursuing or using social media, and you will find that it was coined that 30 years ago, Godwin's law still holds today. What began as a rather amusing observation on the niche online community of the 1990s has developed into a damning indictment of the most prevalent communication channel in human history. Rather than working together to find resolution, it seems many of us online are more interested in winning the debate, the characterizing our opponent as some catch-all description evil. The other week I was reading a book and this guy was saying that the biggest mistake that you get during negotiation is that you always want to be right. That's like the biggest misconception in part of a negotiation. What about hearing what the other person has to say? Like, I get interested to risk my vulnerability in your presence if I have your trust. Rather than working together to find a solution or something. Now, incentivized by likes and shares, whoever can most succinctly put down the enemy, ideally with a catchy twin-length hook, gains enthusiastic kudos from their own tribe. Invoking the Nazis is one route, but other words play a similar role: fascist, communist, woke. What do any of these words actually mean? It doesn't matter used in anger or a contempt, they all signify the same sentiment. You Nazi, you fascist, you communist, you woke. People are dangerous, irredeemable idiots. You've been brainwashed, and speaking as someone who is not brainwashed, I have no interest in hearing another word for what you have to say. Of course, tribalism existed long before the internet. The internet just enabled the tribes to grow larger and more sharply draw the boundaries with rhetoric. If you seek to avoid the ugly communal mud singing, one singing might be simply to withdraw from the space where it most happens. Stay off social media, new forums, comment section, and live your life free from unreasonable and hinged discourse. As a statement commonly attributed to George Bernard Shaw, though likely much older, has it: never wrestle with the pig. You both get dirty and the pig likes it. That is a strong word. Sound advice when good faith debates appears impossible. But if the stakes of discussion are higher, withdrawing to preserve our own sanity might feel irresponsible. Correcting this particular viewpoint matters, we might think. What then can we do? How can we reconcile seemingly unbridgeable gaps in belief and opinion? How can we better engagement with those we disagree with? Well, philosophers have been arguing with one another on emotionally changed topics for millennia: how to organize society, what to believe, how to live. As a result, some solid rules of engagement have emerged to help discussions advance without excess bloodletting. Rules that might inform how we approach disagreement elsewhere, be they political, religious, social, economic, or otherwise, you name them. Now take this famous passage from John Stuart Mill in the 1859 works on liberty. I quote, he says that he who knows only his own side of the case knows little of that. His reasons may be good, and no one may have been able to refuse or refute them. But if he is equally unable to refute the reasons on the opposite side, if he does not so much as know what they are, he has no ground for preferring either opinion. Nor is it enough that he should hear the opinions of adversaries from his own teachers, presented as they state them, and accompanied by what they offer as refutations. He must be able to hear them from persons who actually believe them. He must know them in their most plausible and persuasive form. That is John Stuart. Now, the late philosopher Daniel Dennett also emphasized the importance of really intimately understanding the opposing view. Now, in his 2013 work, Intuition, Palms, and Other Tools for Thinking, Dennett distilled a list of rules inspired by game theorist Anatole Rapoport, a list that philosopher professors now often share with their first year students. And this was it: how to compose a successful critical commentary. You should attempt to re-express your target position so clearly, vividly, and fairly that your target says, "Thanks, I wish I would thought of putting it that way." 2. You should list any point of agreement, especially if they are not matters of general or widespread agreement. 3. You should mention anything you have learned from your target. 4. Only then you are permitted to say so much as a word of rebuttal or criticism. Now, only does this approach respect your opponent as an actual human being rather than as a nameless representative of some other or enemy. It also rather shrewdly transforms them into a more receptive audience for your criticism. If someone does their best to fairly understand and articulate your view, it is immediately disarming. Your perspective has been respected. You have been heard. You are now you are now far more likely to work with your interlocutor, to find, if not resolution, then at least a civilly agreed point of difference. But of course, expecting this level of considered reasonableness in regulating online spaces is probably naive. Even philosophers don't stick to it. Many famous works are littered with quite extraordinary examples of name calling. Now here's Schopenhauer on Hegel, for instance, from The World as Will and Representation, Volume 2, written long before the internet. Schopenhauer says, I quote, Hegel, installed from above by the powers that be as the certified great philosopher, was a flat-headed, insipid, nauseating, illiterate Chartarian who reached the pinnacle of audacity in scribbling together and dishing up the craziest, mystifying nonsense. Damn. That is Schopenhauer. Even great icons of rational thinking and Jane as impassioned put down. Indeed, we are all humans, all with our weakness, blind spot, and irritations. Sherry Mill and Dennett rules of engagement isn't going to change, but will the entire internet won't be fixed by their advice. Perhaps by keeping these rules of engagement in mind, we might make our own disagreement more amicable and productive. At the very least, we can make a difference by embodying the change we want to see in the world and try to approach people with different views, sensitivity, and civility. Even if on particular loaded topics we won't always succeed. Ultimately, each person on this planet is vulnerable human being in search of a good life. By engaging each other calmly, by really listening to one another's unique and valuable perspectives, by digging beneath the surface rhetoric and stripping things back to first principle, I suspect we will soon discover we have far more common ground than we might think. What do you make of Mill and Dennett rules of engagement? What's your take? Is it naive to think humans can bridge big ideological gaps? How do you approach people with opposing views? Have you found success in constructive dialogue? Now, these are very philosophical thoughts, philosophical questions, and there's a lot to unpack here. It was only the few who can have a moment to listen to this and actually do construe what I've actually depicted here. Now you can tell me, you can let me know your thoughts by replying directly to this philosophical concept. I love hearing from you and read and appreciate every message. If you enjoy the Philosophy Break weekly and you'd like to see more, consider to treating yourself by subscribing, following for more. Not only will you explore some of philosophy's most perspective-altering ideas, you'll also be supporting me and the project. Enable this free weekly philosophical break philosophy. Now, I did get some response, and as I said, I always love to appreciate and depict what I learned from every message. Now, I will always ask before I feature you here, always not for confidentiality. Last week we considered the Nietzsche's internal recurrence, and it generated some of fantastic discussion. I was holding a lecture at my seminar. What I really want to share with you this week is a wonderful poem. It inspired Jill from the UK to compose. It's a fun and brilliant read that really captures the spirit of Nietzsche's thought experiment, and Jill has kindly agreed to share it. I hope you'll all enjoy it as much as I did. So here it is. It's actually called Eternal Recurrence by Jill. She's from UK. Jane, and this is the poem. Jane thought she was content with life. She would be a mother and a wife, had not encountered too much strife. When in her ear, a saboteur, a tiny demon said to her, "This life will always reoccur. You will live it over more, each time exactly as before. Is it what you are hoping for?" She looked at her husband snoring. Thought, "My life has been so boring. There's so much that needs exploring." So she woke up her husband, Fred, and told him what the demon said, confusing thoughts within her head. He said, "I understand, my pet. Though I myself have no regret. Our lives are hardly over yet. You feel there's things in your life you've missed? Crack out the cover. You will get pissed. And write ourselves a bucket list." And so they just drove fancy cars, made love outside beneath the stars, both learned to play Spanish guitars. They parachuted from a plane, made 1,000s origami cranes dance and kissed in pouring rain. They had a bath in cold lime jelly, rewatched Black Sevens on the telly, built a shed from the Messieli. One day, Jane pondered with a sign. What if the demon told a lie? But Fred was quick with his reply. What does it matter when we are done? If we have countless lives or one, we have lived our best life, full of fun. Years later, swimming in the Nile, they were eaten by a crocodile. They both departed with a smile. Damn. Honestly, I was just moved by that poem, and I gave it time to consume, to contemplate, and to consume, and let that sink in. The poem is called, as I've said, the poem is called "The Eternal Recurrence." The Eternal Recurrence. I'm not going to discuss right now the philosophy. You can follow for more, as I'll be discussing what actually does that mean, so you to understand that poem vividly. Philosophy break is one personal labor of love that takes thousands of hours and dollars to run. So I'm not, I'm not forcing you, but we can walk this journey together.